welcome to the Rotary Club of Fort Worth. It's great to see everybody on a cold winter day. Our weather is bipolar. Yesterday was great, today not so much. Welcome, everybody. So first up, our invocation will be delivered by Akua Ananful, CEO and founder, EA Wealth Management, LLC, followed by the national anthem played by Wesley Gentle, Director of Advancement, Arts Council of Fort Worth. Akua?
Let us pray. Today, we pray that we receive your special blessings because we are committed to be a real service organization to help humankind. It is good to recognize how different all of us are, our talents, our dreams, our backgrounds, our occupations. Yet we thank you that we can take these differences and mobilize them for the good of Rotary and our community at large. Help us to serve humbly and willingly as we focus on the needs of Rotary, both. Thank you for our gifts and help us to use them wisely. And thank you for good friends, fun, and fellowship.
All right, play ball, and we do have some ball playing. You may be seated. And now we welcome Lauren Prieur, Assistant Director, Capital Delivery, City of Fort Worth, to welcome our guests. Lauren, a little tight up here.
Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome our guest, Dr. Rachel Capua, guest of Carlo Capua. We also have Miss Natalie Young-Williams, also a guest of Carlo. We have Justin McLaughlin, who's also a minority Rotary business applicant. He is my guest. We have Jeff King, who is a guest of Samantha Renz. Shauna Driver, who is also a guest of Samantha. Dexter Hickman joins us from Rotaract. Broderick Taylor accompanies Mr. Jim Austin today. Kayla Eckler is also part of Rotaract. Mr. Ryan Jadish is with Nathan Schneidlwind. That was a trick question. Mr. Chris McMurrow is visiting us from Rotary Arlington. And we also have our past district governor, Mr. Peter Scott.
Welcome to all of our guests. And I know Ryan's name is not spelled the way it was on the sheet there. Thank you for the phonetic spelling. We'll have to do that for you next time, Nathan. All right, and so next up, it is test time. So here at Rotary, we have a little test. So for our guests, it helps guide us in our decisions that we make throughout our professional and personal lives. So number one, if you'll repeat with me, is it the truth? 2, is it fair to all concerned? 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And 4, will it be beneficial to all concerned. And now the time some of you are waiting for, and if you brought a guest, maybe explain what's about to happen. John Loudenslager will be delivering our newscast. He is a commercial realtor with Northern Crane Realty LLC. Come on up, John.
Kind of thought I had a few more minutes, but there we go. So, okay, lots of good news happening these days. CDC's been busy. Now they've issued a new recommendation that masks be worn during Zoom meetings. They're concerned about a computer virus. All right. So the White House has come up with a great way we can start getting oil from Alaska again. We just have to sell it back to Russia. All right, and Biden, yeah, he's finally there. He's issued the no-fly zone. He's putting a screened-in porch on the White House. I know. I didn't write all these, by the way, just some of them. All right, and I'm a little skeptical about all this talk about inflation being on the rise. You know, I just priced cost of hand sanitizer, face masks, and Russian vodka, and they're all down substantially from April of last year. All right, as COVID cases continue to drop, so are the requirements to wear masks. Only one group hates to see the masks go. Thank you. The Association of Mediocre Ventriloquists. All right, getting gas this morning, I noticed a person before me at pump 3 got $10 worth of gas. I mean, where the hell is it going, pump 4? Actually, he had a Tesla. He was getting gas for his lawnmower. All right, so try to be kind to your elders, folks. Anyone born before 1980 has survived a historical shift that is truly brain melting. We remember standing in lines for VHS tapes, and now we're expected to understand cryptocurrency? All right. All right, shout out to everyone who's had sex before marriage, but can't eat meat on Fridays because it's a sin. All right. Just a couple more here. So there's a teacher fired for breaking the state's critical race theory laws after telling students she's black. It's funny and kind of terrifying because it's believable. And finally, Donald Trump, Vladimir Putin, and Kim Jong-un walk into a bar together. And now for the weather this weekend. Not touching that one. After a cold, nasty start today, it's going to brighten up. We'll be sunny in mid-50s tomorrow and mid-60s on Sunday, so it's a great weekend to get out and start your spring planting.
Thank you, John. All right, and now we welcome Sylvia Mahoney, CEO and President, Design for Riders, for an announcement on our Great Decisions program.
Hello, friends. It's good to be here today. I've been Zooming a lot, so I'm loving looking at you. And Tran asked me to announce one of the best projects that our Rotary Club sponsors. It is a chance to get together and make good friends in a small group of about 15 people, and you have a lot of fun, and you learn about international projects and issues. That is our Great Decisions group. And Tran is our magnificent leader of it. And I'm going to have some slides up here. I want you to get your pen out and take notes so you can join. it will be one of those when November comes, you will have a heart filled with wonderful new friends and knowledge and a mind full of understanding of international issues. It meets once a month for 8 months. It starts in April, costs $65. And after we have our discussion and you get a chance to talk and you have a magazine to read the issues so you can be prepared. And then we all go to dinner and have wine and have a really good discussion. So our deadline is next Friday to register. You contact Aurora and say, I want to be one of those. Courtney was this year, and I want you to look at the third slide of people who have been a part of our group. And you couldn't find a better cocktail party than those people to talk to. You'd go away thinking they are successful hosts to have those people there for me to visit with. Register for this. And now to the fourth slide, I'm going to give you a quiz. So the questions are up there. And if you look, the answers are up there. Now, wouldn't you have loved that when you went to biology for a quiz? So, see, I understand my people. And you look down at the bottom and there's an extra point. What is one of the subjects that we will be studying in one of the months this year? What is one of the subjects? Somebody speak up. Aurora Newberry. She's a good subject, but do you see the picture up there? Right. I thought, well, if they can't read, maybe they can look at pictures. Don't forget to register, $65. Now I have two things I want to tell you. One, it makes me sad, but I love Fort Worth. That doesn't make me sad. That's made me very happy. But I am moving March the 29th to Frisco. That makes my heart feel good to hear all the ohs. Thank you, thank you. I love this club, and it has given me everything I needed with the people in here. I will be back. I will visit, and I want you to know my heart comes back here because it's filled by you. And I have a request, a very, very important request. Rotary, one of the major projects of Rotary is getting the Chisholm Trail and the Great Western Trail designated as National Historic Trails. The caveat, Kansas has filed a bill to delete the name Great Western, and they have Chisholm in there, but the bill stops in Kansas. The Great Western Trail goes all the way to Canada. The northern states are really upset about it. And Senator Homan from North Dakota has written a bill, Great Western and Chisholm, and included the Western, which is a segment, in it to be very, well, like Rotarians are, which service of us self and beneficial to all. But they will not listen. They know the truth. Great Western Trail name has been documented, and Western Trail has not. So I'm asking this club, this is the most powerful group in Fort Worth right here. And you can take up this and get our elected officials to talk to Senator Homan. He has not filed the bill. And the Kansas bill has been read twice in the US Senate and in the US House. And you know, the next step is voting on it. And when they vote on it, it's dead in the water, Great Western Trail. So I'm asking you as a group to take on this project, this Rotary project, and make it happen. Plus, there is a tourist administrative center for both trails that will be a part of the designation. And Fort Worth is the only place it really belongs, because the Great Western and the Chisholm, Great Western has links to Fort Worth. And I had only a brief moment, or I'll get started on the beauty of the trail. But I hope you will take this up as your project, and we'll all celebrate when we can come together and celebrate the Chisholm and the Great Western as national trails on all the national maps, and our own administrative center here. Thank you, and I love all of you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Well, we will definitely miss you in the Great Decisions group. And now for a first reading, we welcome our secretary, Rebecca Montgomery, Principal Montgomery GR, for a first reading.
Thank you, Madam President. Happy Friday, everybody. Today, we have one first reading. The proposed member is Irene Johnson. Classification Associations, YMCA. Irene is the Vice President of Operations with the YMCA of Metropolitan Fort Worth. Her proposer is past President Rachel Marker. If no written objections are received in the Rotary office by March 18th, this proposal will be given a second reading and voted on by the club. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. And now for a blue badge presentation, if Melissa Rankin will come up and exchange your red badge for your blue badge. Rotarians do 6 acts of service to earn their blue badge. Thank you for completing those quickly. And now for a new member introduction, I welcome Akua Ananful and her new member to the stage. We are closing in on 300. We are at 290 with our in process. We will very soon be at 290 members. So 300 is within sight. So Akua, come on up.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so Tammy Terra is a CPA and a tax specialist with the Walton Group right here in Fort Worth. Certified public accountant, not to be confused with certified personal assistant. There's a story right there, so you might want to ask her later. After graduating from San Diego State University with a Bachelor of Science degree in accounting in 2004, Tammy went into public accounting and eventually started her own private practice in 2012. Tammy made a decision to sell her practice later on and join a larger firm with more challenging opportunities. Her zest for growth, productivity, and progress in her professional field led her to the Walton Group in 2019. Tammy grew up in a military family with an Air Force dad and hence moved a lot and practically lived in most of the coldest places in the country, ranging from Anchorage, Alaska to Plattsburgh, New York. Yeah, if you don't know where that is, that's upstate New York, and she says it's really sometimes colder than Alaska. No wonder she sought warm climates afterwards. This led her to San Diego, where she actually taught herself how to surf after numerous attempts of being beaten up in this ocean. Surfing is Tammy's passion, and her favorite place to engage in this sport is El Salvador, with its warm people and fantastic surf waves. Tammy has been a Rotarian since 2013, initially with the La Mesa Rotary Club, where she was made a Paul Harris Fellow. She later joined the Rotary Club of Fort Worth Southwest when she moved to Fort Worth, and now a transfer from that club. Tammy finds it most satisfying to be a resource to clients and the community. So as an active Rotarian, she's excited about supporting the community both locally and internationally. And on that note, I actually present to you Tammy Terra.
Akua, thank you. We met at the Southwest Rotary Club, and it's been a pleasure to get to know her as a Rotarian and also as a friend. I will never forget the first time I was brought to a Rotary meeting. I'm like, okay, here's my people, and I've never left. I've been involved ever since, and it's quite a pleasure to be with you guys here in Fort Worth. One of my most memorable times with the Rotary group, I just have to share with you. We gathered a construction crew, over 50 Rotarians and volunteers, and we went down to an orphanage in Mexico. I mean, this place had some halfway decent buildings and just literally holes in the roof. And within that one day, I got to be a part of a team that came in, fixed things, repaired things, built things. We painted, we played games with the kids, and then we took over this hotel right on the ocean and did a little surf session and tequila drinking, and you can salsa dance after enough tequila. So it's what a group of people can do. It's all of us together taking on missions you couldn't imagine doing by yourself. So that's what Rotary means to me, and that's why it's a pleasure to continue with the Rotary service. And so now for a special fact, an odd fact, something I'm willing to share with you. In college, working my way through college, I was actually a dealer in a casino of the table games. So I dealt the blackjack, roulette, baccarat. I got to deal it, and then I also got to turn around and teach people how to deal it. So interesting little fact. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe casino night is in our Rotary future. And now I welcome to the stage our chairman of the day, Brandon Gingelbach, President and CEO of the Fort Worth Chamber. Brandon, we've got.
Wow, that's a hard act to follow. We can all go to El Salvador and gamble, drink tequila. Hey, everybody, I'm Brandon with the Rotary Club. Sit down, Matt. We're going to do a little interview with an amazing person. If you don't know, Matt Homan, who's the general manager and president of Trail Drive Management that runs the 14,000-seat Dickies Arena. And I have a question for y'all as we start. Can somebody tell me what they think is the most significant, what's the most significant accomplishment of Oklahoma City? When you think of Oklahoma City, what do you think is the biggest coup that they have? Huh? Will Rogers? No. Oh my gosh, no. No. This is, thank you. Carlo Capo, a fellow Pi Kappa Phi. It is the Oklahoma City Thunder. So if you don't know the story of OKC, the short version is they had an auditorium that was ready to go during a hurricane, and the Charlotte Hornets needed a place to play because of the hurricane. They came over, played a few games or half a season, and then the next thing you know, the Seattle Supersonics relocate from Seattle to Oklahoma City. So point being, the whole point of today's conversation and the whole blessing of having Matt here is that we get to talk to somebody who's running an organization and running a building that is truly transforming the image and the perception and the knowledge of Fort Worth. So that's what today's discussion is going to be about. If you don't know Matt Homan, he moved here from Philadelphia, where he was the general manager of the Wells Fargo Arena in Philadelphia. He has a degree from University of South Carolina, sports and entertainment. So we're going to dive into that whole. He's made many amazing stops along the way, including Trenton, New Jersey. I want to hear that. Mud wrestling or something good. After that was Columbia, South Carolina, Des Moines, Iowa, Philadelphia, and then here.
Des Moines may be the coldest place in America.
Okay. There we go. So we're going to have a good conversation about that, and we'll take some Q&A as well. He's got 3 lovely kids, a lovely wife, Paige. We're so blessed and lucky to have Matt Homan, so give it up for the wonderful Matt Homan.
Thank you. Thank you. Very nice to be here today. What a great city. I've been here for about 6 years now, a little over 6 years. Moved here from Philadelphia with the opportunity to come in, get involved in the design of Dickies Arena, and then, start building the company that was going to operate Dickies Arena. So it's been a great 6 years. Obviously, we had some challenges. We opened in November of 2019, shut down in March of 2020. Reopened in August of 2020 to a limited capacity. And then in May, April of 21, we're able to open up to a full capacity. So it's been an interesting couple of years. It wasn't how we planned the opening, but I'll say we survived the opening very well. And, it actually gave us a time to reflect on our opening and improve some of our things along the way, which has been great.
Awesome. All right. So let's go back to the beginning because I'm curious. Did you enjoy the circus as a kid? Did you go to college thinking I want to run an arena? Like, how in the world, sports and entertainment, I think I want to be an agent. What was...
Yeah, that was, sports and entertainment was something I always wanted to do. I kind of grew up in the business. My dad worked for Ticketmaster his whole career. And I used to go down to events all the time, whether it be Philadelphia Eagles games. I do not like the Dallas Cowboys. I know there's a couple boos out there. Philadelphia Eagles games, Flyers games, Sixers games, or concerts. I was born going down to the Spectrum and growing up around that environment. And yeah, when I went to college, I wanted to get into sports and entertainment management. And I wanted to run a major NHL and NBA facility. That was my goal kind of going into college. Was able to do that, was able to grow with a company that was growing based out of Philadelphia called Global Spectrum, which was owned by Comcast Cable. Was able to work with them for basically 20 years before this opportunity came up here in Fort Worth. And I fell in love with this opportunity of what it was and what it could be. A nonprofit building, a not-for-profit run arena was something that I'd never heard of. My company previously would go in and manage arenas for cities or counties, would get paid a management fee, and any of those dollars would just go back to the city or the county, and they would just stay there. This was something that was so unique to me because it was an opportunity for us to come in and knowing from day one that every net revenue dollar that we made at that facility, the only thing we could do with those dollars is put them back into the facility. And that was just, it blew my mind on the concept of it. I had to ask the questions over and over again on the interview of how this was going to work. And because it was never really done like this anywhere else in the United States. And I said, so we're going to build probably what is the nicest arena in the United States from finish level and everything else, a 13,000 seat arena. And I'm going to open with little to no debt. And the only thing I can do with those dollars is put it back into the building. And they said, yeah. They said, but there's no subsidy and no one's there to bail you out if you're not making enough money. So you have to produce. And I just thought that was so unique and what a challenge that we could do. And I just saw Fort Worth as this emerging market. You looked at it, looked at other facilities that we would be competing with here. It was 50 miles away to Dallas, to American Airlines Center. And Fort Worth's growth and its pattern of growth, you saw that this was going to continue to grow and develop, and really, really fell in love with it real quick.
This is a Q&A, so you've stole like 3 questions I was going to ask here. I'm like, okay, now we know why he chose Fort Worth and why he left Philadelphia. So it was the model, it was the opportunity to start something from scratch, which I'm sure many in your industry don't get to do. I mean, you were here for how long before opening night of, I think it was
November 19th. Yeah. So yeah, I moved here August of 16. So yeah, a little over 3 years. I guess it was August of 16 that we moved here. And August of 15 we moved here. I'm sorry. So I was off a year, August of 15. And I was able to get involved in that and make those decisions, which I thought could make the arena more, show long-term success.
So you were here for almost 4 years before anything even happened.
Yeah, that's correct.
That's crazy.
In Philadelphia at the time, and it weighed in on my options as well. But, at the time in Philadelphia, I was probably working 250, 260 event nights a year. I had 3 small children. This was an opportunity to come in, and my job for a little bit was going to be a 9-to-5 job. When we opened the arena, the projection was that my kids will be a little bit older then. I could spend a little bit more time with them while they were young, and there was a better. Overall, it was a better way of life for my family here as well. And we saw that. My wife and I saw that and bought into that very quickly.
So what's the best thing about the arena? Like what couple attributes that are just so amazing that maybe we wouldn't know about compared to others arenas? I mean, because presumably you got to be like, dude, I've done this for 20 years. I'm going to like handpick exactly what stinks in these other places and make it better here. I'd love to hear some of that.
Yeah, absolutely. We were able to do a lot of those things, create the entertainment and hospitality areas, not just for the fans, but for the people that are coming to these events, like to the entertainers that are coming in, for the shows that are coming in. I think the clubs that we have, that Reliant Club and the Avion Club, which overlooked both the south and the north of the arena, there's no other arena that has those open bars and open areas going into the arena. And then you look at the detail and the finish, and you try to explain this. I'm a very visual person, so for 2 years, I'd sit there and talk to the architects, and they're like, no, these finishes are going to be different. And finally, they started getting me these Revit models that we could go in and dive into the details, and I could see it, and I could be like, oh, wow, this is going to be really, really nice. And, so those are some of the things that you did. We also were able to come in and create our own DAS, start our own DAS, which is a distributable antenna system. So your cell phone works in the arena. We're able to put in a robust Wi-Fi system in there. The video board and the ribbon boards and the electronics that we put in there are second to none. We have the second largest rounded arena video board in the United States. It sells itself when events want to come into that. But overall, it was the flexibility of the arena, which really helped me throughout this process, and the flexibility of the different types of events that we could do throughout the arena that could that I think made us so unique versus other arenas.
So we're friends, so let's be real. Like, what did you miss the mark on? What does the arena not have? What do you look back and be like, oh man, I underestimated this. I wish we could do that. Sorry.
No, that's a good one. I don't know that we missed the mark on much. There's things that we're doing to continue to improve. The one thing I'll say we missed the mark on is when we came up with the concept, everyone here went to a rodeo. As we did our rodeo boxes and in-seat service that we came up with as we were selling those products, I'd say the one thing we missed the mark on is being able to service those from an easy back-of-house location, and we weren't able to do that. We've been able to makeshift it and not make people would recognize how we do it, but that's probably the one area I think we missed the mark on for that in-seat service to access the rodeo boxes from a back-of-house location.
Like that, it's good. How easy was it or difficult was it to, we got water, so help yourself if you, to sell this concept to get events. So if y'all don't know, the NCAA tournament, first and second rounds is coming here next week. Shoot around on Wednesday, games start Thursday and Saturday. That's the first event that Matt sold when he took over at Dickey's. I think his relationships and contacts helped do that. But how easy was it for some of these other things to say, hey, when this hits, we got to have a pipeline like ready to go?
Well, it was tough at first, and it was because it was a new market. It's been a new market. Everyone thought it was the Dallas market. And I had to start explaining to promoters and agents, it's DFW, but you need to think about it like some of these other major markets like LA, downtown LA and Anaheim are two totally separate markets to entertain. Chicago, New York. New York's got 5 arenas in New York right now, I think, right? So that was a challenge. Then once we start programming the building and selling tickets, it starts selling itself real quick. And, we announced, the day we broke ground, we announced this NCAA tournament, which I think was great. Everyone started to see that. We announced George Strait went on sale with that as our first concert in the venue, which was great. It sold out quickly. we start producing these other events and everything starts selling and selling tickets well, and it's all these different types of events. That was always my goal, is to have a variety of different types of events in there. We weren't able to do that because of COVID and our shutdown, but now what you're seeing us start to do that. So it's not just about having, country concerts, it's rock concerts, it's R&B concerts, which I'm really excited about. 2 weeks from tomorrow, I think, we sold out, or it's about to be a sold out New Edition concert. So we're dipping our toe into the first R&B concert. That's going to bring many other R&B concerts in there. And, the next one I'm really trying to focus on is a great Latin show. And I think we'll have one of those probably by the end of the summer. And I think that'll open the doors to us to other events. So it's about the versatility of where we are and bringing lots of different types of entertainment, but also providing here for Fort Worth. One of the things I'm proud of, we're going to host 14 high school graduations at the arena this year. I mean, that's a lot of high school graduations. Someone in my staff asked me a couple of weeks ago, well, I mean, they're not making a lot of money for us. Are we going to get away from that? And I said, no, that's part of our mission. That's part of what we want to do. Again, we're this not-for-profit, so I have the different mentality than I had in Philadelphia running a facility. And it really gives us opportunity to be a good community partner, and also host great, concerts, entertainment, sporting events, and everything else.
So presumably then you're competing a lot. We're competing a lot against American Airlines. And so we've got Paul McCartney. He's not going to Dallas. He's coming to Fort Worth. So what's the sales? I mean, obviously it's you and it's relationships, because you've done this for a while, but what else why are they choosing Fort Worth over Dallas?
Well, it's relationships that I've built along the way that are helping secure that. I'm kind of kicking American Airlines Center's butt right now, and they kind of know it, which is fun. So I'm very competitive in nature.
Yes.
So I'm very competitive in nature, so I like to win. But it's the market too. It's like I said, it's that new market. It's if for those of you who've lived here for a long time, the history obviously was, the old convention center was where all the concerts were. Then Reunion opened and things went over to Dallas and really never came back. And the city kind of started to say, hey, we're going to start using the convention center for conventions and not do concerts and family shows and sporting events anymore. So it kind of died down. Now we kind of re-bring in this market, and everything gets better. I do truly believe that they're two separate markets though. And I believe that you can play both American Airlines Center and Dickies Arena. One of the things that probably out of COVID that really made me the most mad was we had a concert called The Weeknd, who is a R&B pop artist, and he was playing both American Airlines Center and Dickies Arena and was sold out to both shows. Well, The Weeknd had a big Super Bowl production and got advanced all this money from Live Nation, who's the biggest concert promoter in the world, and then decided during COVID to cancel both arenas and start playing stadiums. And he just went on sale with playing, I think, either Globe Life or Cowboys Stadium, and now he's playing just all stadiums. Because you take a guy and you say, hey, you can go play 50 arenas and make $100 million, or you can go play 10 a dozen stadiums and make $250 million. What are you going to do? You're going to take the less work and go make more money. So that was probably the one event, because we haven't had that yet where we've had that back to back, and it's out there. It's going to happen. And when it happens, I think it's going to expand our growth and our opportunities even more.
It shows that we can be a community that can have multiple arenas. And
our ticket sales have been incredible lately, and it's just a product of everyone supporting the facility and wanting and knowing that there's a market here for Fort Worth. I mean, I told you about New Edition sold out. I joked with a promoter, a gentleman who's brought us a couple shows, including Paul McCartney, and he said, he's from South Louisiana, and he goes, I got a bumper sticker on my car that says, everything sells in Fort Worth. I said, I'm going to print that bumper sticker for you.
I like that. So, all right. So, in my business, when we're looking at recruiting companies to the area, we have quite a few that are knocking on the door because, we're well known, and they may or may not be the types of companies that long term we want to see. In Fort Worth. I mean, we want them here, obviously, but maybe we can be pigeonholed in certain areas. So we have to go out and hunt and really target. So how much of the work that your team does is farming and facilitating the Harlem Globetrotters wanting to come here, or Celine Dion or WWE, versus, hey, we're really going to go and do USA Olympics, amateur things. What's that breakdown, and how do you figure that out?
That's a great question. It's probably a 50-50 split a little bit. There's, like I said, the concert world is believing in it, and they want to keep promoting it until things stop selling. They're going to keep bringing stuff right now. But then there's the bigger picture things like NCAA basketball, that you're truly on a competition level. We're about to announce this thing called the Rocket League World Championships, which is an esports event that's going to come here, and they're going to host it at our facility for probably 6 days this summer. That's going to be a new event that we talked right before COVID shut us down, and then we started conversations back up recently, and I've just been on top of them a lot, just trying to bring events here and trying to get something here, because you got this facility that has this versatility, like I said, especially with the exhibit hall next to it. Like, you get people to start thinking outside the box, really, and start saying, okay, well, we could do this, this, and this, and put it all together there at the arena. There's still, WWE's a perfect one. Now I'm with them. I know you're a huge WWE fan. And, now I'm with them. I'm saying, okay, you're doing one event here. This market can handle 2 events a year. Let's look at, and WWE is a great event for me because generally it's a Monday or a Friday night, and so it sells well. People like it. You want people to continue to come and utilize the facility. When I first got here, I thought we'd do probably 115 events a year. We're probably this year going to do closer to 140 events a year.
Y'all, that WWE, did you do that? Money in the Bank? Yep.
I know you did.
My kids, yeah. That's the one time where I really used the relationship here. I texted him. I was eating sushi when I saw the email come through, and I'm like, I'm paying, but can you help me get front row? So if you see that, it's the Gingelbach family. My boys were in robes, and they're WWE robes. So I can tell you're
over your shoulder too.
I did have a belt. One of the I can tell big WWE fans in the room. Okay, so. We opened up with OKC and what the Thunder has done for that community and the arena. And there's people here that are like, we deserve to have a sports team. It needs to be at Dickey's. We have a professional lacrosse team. But why don't you explain to the group why having a sports team at Dickey's Arena is not necessarily going to be within the best interest of the community?
Yeah, our anchor tenant is the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo. That is our partner. They are a nonprofit as well. We consider ourselves like brethren companies. We're really tied at the hip at everything we do, whether it be sponsorship and sales, or premium seating. All that is tied together, and that bond has to remain strong, because that's how we created this, and that's the way for both of us to survive and grow our businesses with premium seating and sponsorships. The problem comes in is you get these teams that want to come in and do, that block up the building, want to lock in 40 dates to do a minor league hockey, a minor league basketball team. And it's just not of interest to me. I've done that, because what's going to happen, they'll block up 40 dates. They're going to block up all your weekends. They're also going to block up your whole summer, for potential of playoff dates. When I was in Philadelphia, I couldn't do shows through the middle of June because I had to hold, and for the NHL playoffs or the NBA playoffs, until your team was mathematically eliminated, you could get fined by the NBA or the NHL. It just wasn't worth it to me, and as we came here, we didn't need that. We didn't need another tenant in here. Lacrosse came to me and originally wanted to do, and I'll tell, I'm not bashful in telling the story.
Family.
Yeah, they originally wanted to do a indoor football team. And I just said, I don't think indoor football works here. I just don't know that it works here in Fort Worth. I think you're at the time of year you have to do it. You're competing with high school football. I don't see it. And then they came back to me with lacrosse, and I had some previous relationships with the lacrosse league. And I said, look, I think lacrosse would be something that we would be interested in. It's 8 games at the facility. I don't have to block up, all these dates to do it. It's an easy transition for me. And I think it's something that's going to grow. That's not anywhere else in the community, And if you see youth lacrosse growing in the state of Texas, it's growing immensely if you look at the numbers. So I think they have, and they're not doing great this year, but they're willing to withstand this and to, continue to grow it. And I think in the next, give them a year or two. If you haven't seen a lacrosse game, it's a fabulous indoor sport. It's a fun indoor sport to go watch. It's fast paced, scoring, hitting, everything you want to see. And I think in the next 2 years that'll continue to grow. So I made a commitment to them to be patient with them. And, they said that, they want to grow it. They have great ownership behind it. And I think it's going to be something that can do well and succeed here in Fort Worth.
Great. So we've talked about this idea of, so many things that are helping define the Fort Worth of today, and establishing the buzz of Fort Worth, right? So the Stockyards and TX Whiskey and, Dickey's Arena is right up on the top in terms of setting that standard and bringing people to Fort Worth. What are some of the cool, fun comments you've heard from acts, from spectators, from visitors? Are there any that, you keep in your pocket that warm your heart?
Well, I mean, the one, and I didn't hear it until this past rodeo, but one of George Strait's close production people were at the rodeo with us, and he said he pulled me aside. The production person told me, that said, I sit with George all the time, and he pulled me aside right after this show and said that was his favorite building he'd ever played in. He said the acoustics were great, the sound was great. He goes, he actually took his boots off, signed his boots, and gave them to me that he wore that night. That to me was something that was amazing. And you hear that and you're like, well, that's what we built this for. That's what we wanted.
Did anyone go to that concert, the George Strait? It was, and I'm not a concert person per se. I am now, obviously, because we're friends, but before I wasn't. But I think he went around to like 4 different locations to really address the crowd. Is that common, or is that something?
George Strait's one of the only people that can play in the center stage. Actually, I take that back. Eric Church will be playing in the center stage here in a couple weeks, but George Strait is one of the ones who perfected it because he knows how to address each side of the crowd.
Awesome.
And hopefully, maybe he might be coming back.
Ooh. Breaking news. You heard it first. All right, so, but we'll take some questions. I don't know if anybody has some great questions. Go ahead.
It's a traditional event that the College National Finals Rodeo is a 10-day run in June annually, and you had the stock show earlier in the year. It is equal to the National Finals Rodeo. It is in Casper now, and it has reached its limit at the Coliseum of 4,500. It could grow to 14,000 easily, and I hope you will try to recruit it for Fort Worth. There's a history with it.
Did you hear what she's saying? College National Finals Rodeo, which is in Casper right now, and could it come to Fort Worth?
So, yeah, that's a great question. And as I said, we're very versatile in what we do. The one downside is it's very expensive for me to get to rodeo, to get in and out to the rodeo configuration, to get to that floor of, a rodeo floor, a standard arena floor inside a hockey rink is about 85 wide by 200 long. The rodeo floor is 125 feet wide by 250 feet long. And then to get to that rodeo and all the back of house, the cost is in excess of to get in and out of it is in excess of $400,000 just to get to that with dirt and everything else. So it makes it tough for some of the smaller equestrian events and I don't mean that's a smaller event, but smaller event in the revenue side to bear that expense. So there are some other events that we're looking at that would require us to go to that. We have had a discussion about that event. And there are some other horse and equestrian events that we're looking at, potentially bringing in, maybe in the front end of the rodeo or on the back end of the rodeo with the rodeo's permission, because again, that's my partner and I'm not trying to, the last thing we want to do is put the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo in jeopardy. We want to continue to see them succeed. So we are in some discussions on some of those other events, but the cost to get in and out and the dirt is something that makes it tough for some of those other events.
I love it. 9 out of 10 people will be like, absolutely, we'll look into that. I appreciate that. That's a great answer. Go ahead, Gary.
Dream concert or event that if you could pull it off, it would just be.
Bruce Springsteen. Real quick, real easy. That's it. Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. So that's it for me. Yeah. No, and hopefully we'll see. We'll see. He's going to start touring again soon, so we'll see.
Go ahead.
How do Rotarians get tickets for the NCAA game? And second question, do you have any affinity marketing that, like the Rotary Foundation is helping Ukraine victims? Do you do any tie-ins to help places like that, the Rotary Foundation?
Great questions. The first answer is, if you're not on our our email list to notify when events are coming out, you should join that. That's how we notify people when ticket sales. NCAA tournament next week is sold out, which is great. You might see some seats open up due to, if a small college doesn't buy their allotment, then we'll put some seats on sale here, which you will know probably Monday or Tuesday next week. Second question is, yes, long-term, we want to get involved in things like that. Right now, in the immediate, we had to survive. As a not-for-profit with no backing, with nothing backing us, we were fortunate to, probably the most proud thing in my career I've ever done is we did not furlough or lay one person off during the pandemic. And we're right now, thank you. And we're an 80-person staff right now, full-time staff. And so that was a huge accomplishment for us, and it was about survival. And the past 2 years, fiscal years for us are November 1 to October 31st. That was about survival. Now we're getting into a mode of sustaining, starting to build our reserve, and then yes, I think we're trying to be that community partner out there as well. But I think we'd have to be more of a local, local organizations is what we try to support more than anything.
All right, Jim Austin, who is handing out free pens if you haven't gotten one. I've got 7. Go ahead.
Hey, how big is the PBR in May? Into Fort Worth? I mean, just expand to the audience how big that is in May.
It's going to be a huge event for us. PBR finals have relocated from Las Vegas to professional bull riding. So professional bull riding, the finals were in Las Vegas. They've changed their format and moved it. They were in Las Vegas in early December. They needed a new home because they were right on top of the NFR, the National Finals Rodeo as well. So they felt like they were kind of always competing with the NFR. Now this gives them a new home. They're going to be their permanent home here. They look to grow the market. We're going to do 7 performances, probably at, do close to 80,000 people over those 7 performances. It's going to bring people all in from out of town. They're partnering also with what's going on down there in the stockyards with Majestic. So it's going to be a great opportunity for us to do it. And our Paul McCartney show just happens to be in the middle of PBR. So I went to PBR and said, listen, their shows are Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then they take a couple days off and then go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I went to PBR, said, I'm going to do Paul McCartney on Tuesday. We're going to load you out on Sunday, get all the dirt out, clean the building. I'm going to load Paul McCartney in on Monday, do Paul McCartney on Tuesday, and load you back in on Wednesday. And at first they were like, you're going to do what? And I said, yeah, I'm going to do it. We can do it. We feel like we have a plan in place. We're going to make this work, and I'm not going to pass up Paul McCartney. And they were, and Sean Gleason, the head of PBR, he came to me, he goes, Matt, I told my guys, it's like Paul McCartney's playing during the PBR finals. Yes, we're going to do this with you. So it's a great relationship. I'm excited for PBR to come. I think it's going to be great for Fort Worth and bring in a lot of out-of-town guests.
All right, so we got to go here. We've got, listen, Matt's going to be here. Come ask questions. He's great. This is the one question I wanted to end on. Like, what is the craziest thing that has happened? You have all these acts. I mean, KISS came to visit us. You've been in New Jersey, Des Moines. I can't imagine the crazy stuff. What is like some of the craziest artists or requests or things that have happened where you've gone home and like, Paige, you'll never believe this.
Yeah, so I was in Columbia, South Carolina. I was, fairly young. I was the director of event services. ironically, we were doing George Strait. It was a big show for us. And the artist Ryder came in and they requested a coffin. And I was like, a what? A coffin. They're like, yeah, it's the last show, we need a coffin. Well, as it turns out, it was one of George's managers' birthday, his 60th birthday, and they did a surprise birthday party for him. And George popped up out of the coffin and was joking with him. So, yeah, the ending of that story is we sat in, pop-up folding chairs outside. I sat outside, we were drinking whiskey and smoking cigars with George Strait. It was probably one of the coolest experiences too.
Well, listen, not only do we have an amazing arena that we are blessed with that is changing the perception and bringing people to Fort Worth, but y'all, nothing happens without people who are talented, knowledgeable, and have amazing relationships. And so none of this happens without Matt, the best Fort Worthian I know, so give him a hand.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Matt. Okay, so it's a tradition of our club to donate a book to the Fort Worth Public Library in honor of your talk today, and this is a copy of the book plate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, a few closing announcements here. You notice the sign here in front. Our Rotary is supporting the Ukraine refugees by delegating all of their Rotary disaster funds to Ukraine. Originally, it was through April 30th. That's been extended through June 30th. So any donation made to the Rotary International Disaster Fund will go to help with the over 2 million refugees that are coming out of Ukraine. There are designated clubs on the border of Ukraine and within Ukraine that will be directly helping the people there. The sign has a QR code. If you scan this QR code here, it will take you directly to the page to make a donation. And to sweeten the deal, our club will give you a box of cupcakes. We will give you a dozen cupcakes for a donation in any amount. There is a graphic on the screen, I think. It also has the QR code to go to the site to make a donation and also to tell us where to deliver your cupcakes. So grab a sign on your way out. Back at the back where Aurora is standing, we have 50 signs for you to take and display in your yard and help promote this project to support the victims of the war in Ukraine. And the creator of this sign is here with us today, Chris McMurrow. He designed this sign, and the graphic was actually by a Moscow-born designer, Natasha Alamova. She and her husband wrote, previously, Ukraine did not have a symbol of peace. We decided to create it. This is the dove of Ukrainian peace, the symbol of which is based upon Ukraine's coat of arms, the trident. She has donated this logo for use for support, so grab a sign on your way out. We have Great Decisions, also see Aurora there at the back if you'd like to sign up. And our printed member directories are ready. If you've not picked up your copy of our printed directory, Aurora has those also at the back. Next week's program is Texas Wesleyan, Fred Slaybach, president, and Joe Prudhomme, the head football coach. And our meeting will be sponsored by our Paul Harris Fellows. So next week, if you're a Paul Harris Fellow, please wear your pin to the meeting. And with that, we are adjourned. Stay warm.